guys, so today in English, what we're going to be talking about is irregular verbs. So the title of the notes is, of course, irregular verbs. So make sure that you have irregular verbs and today's date at the top of a clean page of your English notebook. So, first of all, irregular verbs are much like irregular plural nouns, where, I can't see my line that I have, so I'm going to guess. Yeah, we're good here. We're good. Regular verbs are just like regular plural nouns, except instead of making things more than one or only one, it's the tenses of the verbs. So regular verbs follow the same pattern to form the past tense, which is to, for example, which is to add ed to the end. So, for example, walk, the verb walk, to make it past tense, you just add ed to the end to make it past tense. Let's see. Here's our base verb walk, and then this we add ed to say they walked to the store yesterday. Now, irregular verbs. Just like irregular plurals, these follow their own rules. Except at least with plural nouns, we had some kind of consistent rules. If you look back, you'll see that even on the irregular plural nouns page, there were still multiple words that followed certain rules. There were just a lot of them. Irregular verbs follow pretty much no rules at all. They do whatever they feel like. Irregular verbs do not, do not, oh my gosh, I'm having some trouble. Do not end with the letters ed. Oh, my pen got stuck. Ed. They don't. They just don't. Oh, in the past tense. So regular verbs follow the same pattern to form the past tense, which is to add ed to the end of the base verb. Irregular verbs do not end with ed in the past tense. And we can't even add anything to that definition because, like I said, each of them follows their own rule entirely. For example, the word run. We do not say, he runned to the store yesterday. We say, he ran to the store yesterday. That's not the only one. For example, we've kind of talked about these a lot, but the verbs be and have are irregular. We've talked about that a lot with linking and helping verbs, where we had the forms of be, which are am, are, is, was, were, and will. And have, we talked about because the forms of have are have, had, and has. None of those follow any type of rule. And then the last note I want to add is irregular verbs don't follow any rule, so unfortunately, I'm sorry, it's getting really messy. I should have erased. And so the spelling of these verbs must be remembered. And what that means is, unfortunately, because there are no rules for irregular verbs, you just have to memorize them. But luckily, I'm going to help you a little bit with that, because the first thing we're going to do, excuse me, I'm out of breath. I do not have my water today, and so I forgot my cup. So my voice is a little bit dry. This is the last lesson I'm filming today, and you can tell by my voice. So the spelling has to be remembered. But luckily, what we're going to do first for our guided practice is we are going to fill out this handy little chart. Now, this is not all of the irregular verbs. There are lots and lots and lots of irregular verbs, but at least we can come up with these together. So get out your Tuesday packet and open to the first page called Those Oddballs. We are going to fill this chart out together. So go ahead, get that out. Keep your English notebook out so that you can look back and forth just in case, and then we'll do this together. Okay, so we're going to fill this chart out. We're going to do part of it together, the first 3 columns, and then you are going to do the last part, use one form in a sentence on your own. Now, I do want you to do that, but you still don't have to turn this in. However, if you do, if you just keep it attached, I hope I see all of these filled out. You're going to use, so what we're going to do first is we are going to figure out, we're going to look. They put one form of a word on each row. We have to figure out the present, we have to figure out the other 2 tenses just by looking at the one we're given, and then, excuse me, you are going to use one form in a sentence on your own. You will do that. Okay, so we're going to fill out this table together, and our first word, I'm going to go ahead and number it so that'll be a lot easier for me and you. 1, 2, you do not have to number it. Just know if I say, okay, number 1, we're talking about the first one and so on. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we have number 1 through 12. Okay, number 1, we have the past tense form, and it is caught. What I want you to do right now is we're going to pretend like we're on Dora the Explorer, and you're going to call out to me what the present tense is. We're just writing the base word, the base verb in this present tense, because it says now I, so we're using the singular version of this present tense, which means we have no S's at the end. So, caught, what is the present tense form of caught? Correct. It's catch. And we know for future tense, irregular verbs only change in the past tense. In the present tense, they are in their base form. In the future tense, we just add the word will before the base verb. So, in future tense, tomorrow I will catch. Now what I want you to do is you can either pause the video each time and choose one form to write in a sentence, or you can do it at the end. That's up to you. But if you want to, I'll just put a little bit of a pause so that you can pause the video and write a sentence if you'd like, or you can wait till the end. That's up to you. It might be easier to do it one at a time as we're going, but that's up to you. Okay, in the next, on number 2, we have the future tense, and it says will think. Well, we know that the present tense of will think is the base verb without the word will. So, in present tense, we have now I think. Now, guys, think about it. What is the past tense of think? You didn't think yesterday, you thought. Correct. Yesterday. I hope you guys are doing this, even if you look crazy. It'll be fun. Okay, number 3, we have the present tense. Now I drink. Well, yesterday I, correct, drank. And tomorrow I will drink. I think I forgot to put a pause between 2 and 3. So here's my pause for writing your own sentence for number 2 and number 3. Okay, number 4, we have the past tense, which is became. Yesterday I became. So today I will, so today, now I become. Correct. And in the future tense, tomorrow I will become. Believe me, I feel silly too doing that, but hopefully it works. Hopefully you guys are calling out answers at home, or at least thinking them in your head. Okay, here's my pause if you need it. And now number 5, we have the present tense, now I fall. Well, yesterday I fell. And tomorrow I will fall. And a quick pause. And now number 6. Well, we have yesterday I bled. So now I bleed. And tomorrow I will bleed. Fall and bleed are kind of a little weird. Here's the pause. Okay, number 7, we have the present tense lay, which is to set an object down. So I lay the book on the desk. Well, yesterday I laid the book on the desk. Not lie. That's the past tense of something else. So tomorrow I will lay the book on the desk. Don't use the book on the desk. Use it in a different sentence. Here's that pause if you need it. Okay, now number 8, we have shone, meaning to radiate light. So I could say, yesterday the sun shone on the ground. So that means now the sun, I said it wrong earlier. I did not mean the singular form. We're using the plural form of the verb because I follows the plural form of the verb, the present tense verb. So we're going to say the lights. Yesterday, the lights shone on the stage. So that means now the lights shine on the stage, and tomorrow the lights will shine on the stage. Now, here's your pause to write a sentence. Don't use the lights on the stage. Use a different version. Okay, number 9, we have the future tense. Tomorrow I will teach. I'm doing that. That's real. That's true. Well, yesterday I taught. And now I teach. Great job, hopefully. Now here's your pause to write your sentence. And now number 10, we have lie, to recline like in a bed. So if you're back like this, you're like lying back. Now I lie on the bed. Yesterday this one's tricky. You may not get it, but that's okay. Lay on the bed. So the past tense of lie, as in lying down in a bed, is the same as the present tense of I lay the book on the desk. Tomorrow remember we use the base verb and then we add will before it. Will lie. So pay attention to that one because that's a tricky one. If you're saying lay, as in you're laying a book on the desk, then the past tense is laid. I laid the book on the desk. And tomorrow, I will lay the book on the desk. But if you're saying lie, as in lie down in bed, you would say, now I lie in the bed. Yesterday, I lay in the bed. And tomorrow, I will lie in the bed. Now, that's a tricky one, and a lot of people say it incorrectly. But remember, this is just something you have to memorize. All of these are just, unfortunately, something that you have to memorize. You can see they really follow no rules, other than future tense has will before it, and then the base verb after. Okay, number 11, we have spoke. Yesterday, I spoke. Well, now I speak. And tomorrow, I will speak. Okay, here's your pause for your sentence for number 10 and 11, because I forgot one for number 10. If you use number 10, make sure you're not talking about in the bed. So you can say in the grass, on the street, in a chair, whatever. Just make sure you're talking about yourself lying down somewhere. Okay, number 12, we have the future tense, will say. Well, we know based on patterns that present tense is the future tense without the word will. But the past tense is what changed, because now I say and tomorrow I will say, but yesterday I said. Now go ahead, here's your pause to write your sentence, or to pause and write all of your sentences if you need to, and then we are going to do this point to ponder after. Okay, now the point to ponder. What patterns do you notice? Well, I can see in the past tense I follow 0 patterns. There are no patterns at all. There just aren't. I can't find any. If I tried to find one, it would be a coincidence, or it would be me reading too much into it and coming up with something that isn't actually completely true. But I do notice that in the present tense, the future tense, it's all, so the future tense is the same as the present tense with the word will added before the main verb. So the only pattern I notice, and that you should notice too, is that the future tense is exactly the same as the present tense, just with will before it. We can also see that the future tense follows the same rule as regular verbs. We take in regular verbs and irregular verbs. For the future tense, we take the base verb and add the word will. They do not change their rules in the future tense. It's only the past tense that they become irregular and follow no rules. Okay, if you have any questions about these are not all the irregular verbs, unfortunately. There's no way we would have the time or the energy to do this for every single irregular verb out there. There are lots of irregular verbs that you may not even learn until middle school or high school or college, or maybe even ever, unless you just come across it one day. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and go to the back and do the back of the guided practice together. It looks like this. And the directions say, write the correct past tense verb of the underlined verb on the line provided. Now, some of these will be on this chart, so you can go back and forth. Some of them, you just have to think of how you would say it. So let's go ahead and do that together. Okay, so now we're on the page. It has number 89, or it has the page number 89 at the bottom. And I know I don't have it up here, but you have it on your paper. So let's read the little bullet point at the top together. So read in your head while I read out loud. An irregular verb is a verb that does not add ed to form the past tense. Well, that's what we have here. And we already knew that. We came up with that whole chart that had no ed at the end. So we're going to do the same thing here. So what we're going to do is, I actually don't think any of these words were on our chart, but you know what? That's perfect, because that means we have a whole nother group of words listed and already ready for us in the future. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to read the sentence, and you're just going to have to use prior knowledge because you've used all of these words before at some point in your life in past, present, and future tense. So when you think about it, you know what these are. So for number 1, the snow blank begin to fall. Well, we have to write it in past tense, and we don't write the snow beginned to fall. We write the snow began to fall. So we take that I and we change it to an A. That does not follow a rule. That's just what we do with this word. Number 2, the sunlight blank the snow and ice glitter. We don't say the sunlight maked the snow and ice glitter. We say the sunlight made the snow and ice glitter. We change that K for a D. I don't know why. It's just what we do. Number 3, an icicle, an icicle blank off the roof. We don't say an icicle braked off the roof. We say an icicle broke off the roof. So we change that EA to an O, and we move the E to the end for no other reason other than that's just how we do it. Number 4, I blank the icicle on the ground. We didn't find it on the ground. I didn't find it on the ground. I found it on the ground. The icicle on the ground. So we change that I to an OU. Number 5, the first snow blank earlier than usual this year. It didn't come earlier. The first snow came earlier than usual this year. We change that O to an A. Now I do see where some of them we just change the vowel sound, but there's really no way to say why, which ones we do that with or why, and we don't do that every time. Number 6, we blank to the pond to ice skate. We didn't goad to the pond to ice skate. We went to the pond to ice skate. That doesn't even keep any of the original letters, but that's just how we do it. Number 7, Elijah and I blank leaps, twists, and turns on the ice. We didn't dude leaps, twists, and turns on the ice. Elijah and I, sorry, I almost forgot, did leaps, twists, and turns on the ice. Number 8, he blanked through the air and landed safely on the blades of his skates. He didn't fly through the air. He flew through the air and landed safely on the blades of his skates. Number 9, Nina blank a picture of the frozen pond. Nina didn't draw a picture of the frozen pond. Nina drew a picture of the frozen pond. There's another one where we change the vowel sound, but again, there's not really anything where we can look at a word and say, we're going to change the vowel sound. We just do that with some of them, and we don't with others. Number 10, we decided to go home when we blank, it was getting dark. We didn't decide to go home when we seed, it was getting dark. We decided to go home when we saw it was getting dark. Okay, I know, there's no rules, but you've said all of these in the past tense before, so all you have to do when you look at these is you have to imagine, okay, I'm not going to say the snow began to fall. Let me use my brain to think of when I've said this before. Oh yeah, I remember I said the snow began to fall, or whatever it was, began to do something. Okay, so that's it for the guided practice. Remember, you do not have to turn that in. However, if you're giving me the whole packet, that's okay. I'll just give it back to you right away. Now that you're done, I want you to go ahead and turn to the next page. you have independent practice. It is front and back. On the front, you are going to say if the verb, here's just some charts to help you at the top. Make sure you look over those because those will probably help you do these. And then the directions for each one say, is the verb regular or irregular? Circle the correct past tense for each verb. So you're going to look at the verb. Does it make sense? Is it regular? Does it make sense to just add ed to the end? Or do you have to change it? So you really, if you're not sure, you need to read the sentence to yourself with each of these verbs. One is not going to sound right. Let's do number one together. One is sweep. Is it Tom sweeped the floor? Is it regular? We just add ed? Or is it irregular and we change it completely and we say Tom swept the floor? Well, sweeped the floor does not sound correct. So we're going to say Tom and then we're going to circle swept the floor. And you're going to do that for each of them. Some of them are regular, some of them are not. So you really need to read it to yourself several times to see, does that sound right or does that sound a little off? Make sure that you are doing your best. Then on the back, you have this that says solve the mystery. What you're going to do is you are going to read each sentence, then you're going to circle the irregular verb in each sentence. Then you will write the past and present tense of the verb in the spaces provided. Some of these you will have on your chart that we did. Some of them will be on the second page of the guided practice. Some of them could possibly be on this chart on the front of the independent practice. Some of them you may have to come up with yourself, but you have used all of these words in the past tense before, so you should be able to come up with them. If you have any questions about today's lesson, make sure that you reach out to me between 1 and 5 on Skype, FaceTime, text, email, whatever's easiest for you. If it's before 1 or after 5, just text me if you can, and I will let you know if I'm available. You can email me too. I just might not get it as quickly as I would a text. I think that's it. So go ahead, do that independent practice. Again, if you have any questions about anything we've done today, reach out to me between 1 and 5. Even if you're doing this a day or even 2 days late, that's okay. Still reach out to me if you have questions. I know, we might all get behind. I've already gotten behind, so it's okay. It happens. Okay, go ahead and do the independent practice.